Testing. Oh, hell yeah. My unit is well known. We're called the Bastards. We're based out of Dunland, and parts unknown. And we have a little bit of a reputation for uncouth behavior, one might say. So, this tale, first off, how many middle marchers are out there? All right. So, some of my middle marcher friends might know some of this, but this is going to be dubbed the Bane of Taria. Now, there's a little fella in my unit. There are a lot of words that come to mind when we do this, but his name is McSpeed. But for the purposes of this, you can simply know him as Jeff. So, Jeff is what you might call an original individual, bursting with personality, and maybe just a little bit of heart.
That's too much heart.
Now, Jeff is a very reliable person. He brings most of our gear, he brings most of our equipment, mostly the same way a trained monkey dances for coins. But as I said before, he has what you might consider an excess of personality. Specifically, the personality that's told that when someone had asked him to do something, he will do the exact opposite. So, you know who loves it when you do something that they don't want them to do? Taria loves it. Taria loves it when you break rules and then do it at the same time, every year at the Olympics. Anyway, so, Jeff, his first year at Olympics. Now, if you've never been to Olympics, gorgeous setting in the heart of downtown Indianapolis. And there is a lovely little space down a hill into this beautiful little forest. And Jeff, well, he felt in his heart that there wasn't anyone around to bother him. And so he needed people to bother him. And the only way in his mind he considered doing that was to just build his fire up. Really up. So much so that the fire marshal got called out for us. Which wouldn't have been so much of a problem if just before the fire marshal showed up, he decided what would happen if he threw a mortar inside of the fire. And needless to say, the fire marshal was not terribly pleased. So now we saw that Taria smoothed this over because Taria is a wonderful person and can smooth anything over. And so she told us, the Bastards, you see that one over there, I'm going to need you to hurt that one enough that he doesn't do that anymore. And we, the Bastards, were happy to comply. So when Jeff woke up the next day after being bald, gagged, beaten, and tortured, it was perfectly acceptable that he understood that he was to be a good boy. Jeff decided to not be a good boy. Now, if you might know what happens when you've been drinking, who's here been drinking? Yeah. So, when you're drinking, you know how if someone told you something that you're not supposed to do, but maybe you just said, I'm gonna do that. So, you remember that mortar I talked about earlier in the beginning of this story? So, just to reiterate, there was a mortar in that campfire. Jeff decided that, you know what goes great with campfires and mortars? More mortars. So Jeff decided that instead of putting the mortar in the fire, he would take the mortar tube and just shoot mortars off at about 2 or 3 in the morning. We'd all been drinking. Oh, by the way, this is not the Saturday, this is the Thursday. So, you know. We're not even in the good kind of the partying yet. We haven't brought out the whiskey and the punch yet. It's just, beer and sadness. So we decide the mortars go off, as one does. Taria, have I mentioned how much I like Taria, how much of a reasonable person she is? Taria decided that may have been enough. And so marched over to us and said, all right, so the ultimatum is he needs to leave or he can't leave the camp. Those are his options. And we agreed that was probably pretty reasonable, considering she hadn't kicked us out. So we beat the ever-loving crap out of Jeff, told him he couldn't leave, and that was that. So he didn't, and he was a good boy. The rest of that O's. So fast forward to his second O's. And Jeff is kind of been warned, hey, you remember how you were kind of a little bit of a bastard last time? Not in a good way. We need you to not, because Taria is kind of mad at us. And so Jeff decided that, he could do better. So what Jeff decided to do this time, well, let's just say that it turns out it's really easy to purchase an air horn. But here's the really thing. Here's something. Science really proved this. I didn't know that if you could shoot flames out of an air horn. It turns out if you put an air horn by a campfire and go it on full blast, you can get that smog arcing dragon fire real quick. Phenomenal. Now, this wouldn't have been a problem if it wasn't for the fact that we weren't in the woods this time. We were by the pavilion. And maybe the fire may have hit someone's car. Allegedly.
Oh, no.
Nevertheless, Taria, being the reasonable person she is, came to us and said, I need to speak to the bastards. And we, of course, were like, yes, Mom. And when we got there, and she looked at us and she remembered us from last time, as I imagined she would, and was like, okay, so that was one. The next time you're all out of here. And I was like, okay, yes, that's fair. Fast forward a day later, so Jeff decided that, what goes great with air horns and fires? Megaphones and fires. Now, it wasn't nearly as bad, but luckily she caught us before anything got out of hand and said, I didn't catch you doing it, so we're going to let that one slide, but, All right, so Jeff was, other than not dressing in garb, playing country music, and pulling a gun out on someone later on that day, Jeff was actually pretty good that day, so... So fast forward to Jeff's third and final O's.
Oh my God.
Jeff has decided he's gonna be a good boy. He's gonna be, one might say, reformed.
Right.
This reforming takes place in the fact that he's just going to be an alcoholic at our camp, which is all we've ever asked of him. But somehow, some way, someone has given Jeff a solid crystal glass boot. Das Boot. Now, every single one of us said the same thing to Jeff. That doesn't have a handle. Don't drink it by the parking lot. But Jeff is a free spirit. He's a simple soul. He can't help himself. And so Jeff, midnight or so, decides that the best thing to do would be to take his liter-full glass boot of beer into the parking lot and dance. Now, I'm not God. I can't predict the future. But I will say that I could have called that outcome better than any man could predict any outcome of any award show in the world. So Jeff, of course, decides to dance with his glass of liter beer boot, and the Das boot dropped on the Das goddamn parking lot. And explodes into arguably a billion pieces. With beer! So it's extra sticky too, that's how you know. Now I am not the leader of the bastards, but I work in the substitute. So Taria heads straight for Jeff, and I have to intervene, being like, wait. Speak to me first, if you could, please. And they say, it was Jeff, wasn't it? And yeah, sure it was. Okay, so she says, okay, so the rest, I know what I'd expect. I don't want to have this to be my entire weekend, so I'm going to have to ask you to please keep me at camp. And sure, totally. I'm out there as a good boy, sweeping up the beer glass from the parking lot. And I've only been at this task for about 20 minutes. I'm pretty tired, and my hands are cut up with glass. And I look just over my shoulder, and guess who's got a full stein of beer and not wearing any pants in front of me in the parking lot? You know what? You would be correct. It would be Jeff. And little peeved, one might say. And that was the day I learned that it is, in fact, not terribly difficult to chuck a person like a javelin. All it requires is unfettered rage. So, I look forward to being here next year after this Olympics. Because maybe, just maybe, I'll have a new joke for y'all. I've been Kamina Nhazul, and you've been wonderful, San Diego. Good night.